Hello and welcome to the JK Feather Ranch channel. As you can probably see, this fascia board here on the side of our house is pretty rotten. That's because our house didn't have any gutters when we bought it 11 years ago, and I've put them up on the rest of the house a few years ago. I never got around to doing this one here, partly because I was lazy and partly because our gas water heater, the vent was directly attached to where I wanted to run the gutters, and I didn't really feel like messing with that. But now we've replaced our water heater with a heat pump. There is no more exhaust pipe. Of course, now there's a hole here that I've got to take care of. So I'm going to be replacing this nasty board and installing some gutters. And I figured I may as well show you how to do that. Let's get started. I'm going to start by prying out all the nails holding the drip edge on, breaking the adhesion with the shingles as I go. In terms of what I had available, I actually found that an automotive trim tool worked really well for this. I got all the nails that potentially went into the fascia board I'll be removing, but there were a couple further back that I couldn't get for whatever reason. This prevented me from removing the entire drip edge, so I settled for cutting off the portion that overhung the front. After doing some of it by hand, I realized that an angle grinder would make this part much easier, so long as I kept a water bottle ready for when the sparks inevitably threatened to catch the rotten wood on fire. With the last of the drip edge removed, I'll just run a Sawzall through here real quick and cut any remaining nails. Cut the board into easily manageable pieces and remove it with a hammer. The end of the eaves is so rotten that there's no resistance, which will have to be dealt with before reinstallation. But before I continue, let's go ahead and clean up these birds' nests under here. And I could start cutting off the rotten part of the eaves. A Sawzall kind of worked, but was awkward and definitely not the ideal tool. That ended up being my oscillating multi-tool. Sure, it may have taken a bit longer, but it was far less awkward and easier to control. Let's just get rid of the hidden nail under here. This one had a nail I didn't see at all, which cost me a blade, but I was eventually able to get through it. I ended up with a couple nails in the drip edge too far back to get to, so I settled for cutting off any remaining lip and leaving it in place. I'll just slide the new one under it when I'm ready. It wasn't that much, and it's mostly dried up already, but of course it rained as soon as I pulled everything down. Everything looks okay, or at least no worse than it already did, so let's get everything cleaned up before I start putting things back together. Sorry, birds, but your crap has got to go too. I'll be attaching new wood to both sides of each eave, so I'll start by tracing the correct angle from one that's still intact onto a piece of 2x6 as a template. And with my blade angle set, I'll go ahead and transfer that to a longer piece. which I can push up against the wall to mark the correct length. and then I just need to copy it a bunch more times. And now I can start putting them in place. I'm using 4-inch deck screws here, so they not only go through the center board, but into the one on the other side as well. And this one needs a little bit of adjustment. With all the eaves repaired, I could move on to preparing a new fascia board. I measured from one end to the center point and cut my first board with a 45-degree bevel to hopefully minimize the chance of a visibly ugly joint. I'll go ahead and paint it before installation, just to make sure it's as well sealed as it can be. Let's put it in place, at least loosely. Add some caulking just to fill any gap, and attach a second board, screwing through both to prevent separation as much as I can. With that in place, I'll just make some little trim pieces to cover the unsightly corners. With the fascia board replaced, I can finally start on the actual gutter itself. They do sell couplers to join two sections together, but in my experience they just introduce leaks and there's a better way of doing it. After cutting off part of one, I smeared it with gutter sealant and laid the second one inside of it, clamped and screwed them together. I may as well cover the gap with more sealant, and it's best to orient things so the section on the bottom is closest to the downspout angled down. And for the ends, I'll just use these pre-made caps. With the help of a couple ladders, I was able to lift the gutter into place and secure each end with a hanger. The built-in screw pierces the metal backing and secures it to the wood. I angled it slightly downwards towards where my downspout was going to go, and spaced each hanger about 2 feet apart. I'll follow that up with a hole for the downspout adapter, which I'll attach from the top with a copious amount of sealant. I could then prepare a new drip edge, which I slipped under what remained of the existing one, making sure it overhangs the gutter. Made a couple of relief cuts where the hangers got in the way, and screwed it in from the front since I wasn't about to tear up shingles to get to the top. With the gutter in place, the only thing left to do was the downspout itself. I'll start by securing an elbow to the adapter I installed earlier, measuring the length of the first piece I'll need, and cutting it out of a 10-foot section. I could then use a crimping tool to make sure the bottom end fit inside the next piece. Since water only flows downhill, no sealant is required as long as the higher section is always fitting inside the one below it. I'll use a pair of downspout brackets to secure the vertical section to the wall. And all that's left is to make sure it drains properly and doesn't leak. Everything looks good and worked properly over the winter, but there was one more thing I wanted to do, which was to make some metal trim pieces to hide where I cut out the damaged part of the eaves. With those in place, I can finally call this done. Thanks for watching! Burning fungus. Wait, isn't this how The Last of Us starts?